Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband and stepdaughter stranded on Christmas when I found out he gave her my big Christmas gift? My husband, male 41, is the worst at gift giving. We've been together for 3 years, and after the first year of not receiving anything for my birthday, anniversary, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day was the last straw after being told I wasn't his mother. I decided to start matching energy. Father's Day came and I was gone all day when normally I would have put together a big lunch/dinner and drive 30 to 45 minutes to go get his daughter, now 16, so they can spend the day together. He called me in the afternoon and I was polite but not initiating conversation. He asked me when I was picking up his daughter and I replied I had plans and wasn't aware that I was supposed to pick her up since nothing was communicated to me. When he responded with, "It's Father's Day," I used his response back. "You are not my father." Yeah, fuck this man. Give him a taste of his own medicine, bro. I had anticipated him getting upset and knew a constructive conversation would not be had, so when he started to raise his voice, I told him check the table and hung up. I had left a letter to him communicating how much I was hurt about going out of my way for him and to not have any sort of reciprocation. He called me later and said he would try to be better and work on it. I ended up going to get his daughter during the week so they could enjoy a dinner together. Oh, she caved. You're a good person, but I don't think you should have caved. When you give in to somebody, it could be perceived to them as weakness, especially when making such a hard-headed point. She should have kept hard-headed. Background info, he drives big rig trucks, so the vehicle we use for everyday travel is mine. He's been better about the gifts. It's more of a go pick something out and I will pay for it, which I really don't mind. He does the same thing with his daughter. I do all the shopping for his family gifts when it comes to birthdays and holidays. Cut to a week before Christmas and I wake up to my favorite coffee drink and my husband taking me out to eat for breakfast, followed by a trip to the mall to pick out my Christmas gift. I rarely splurge on myself when it comes to purses and clothes. I have a preteen son from my first marriage, so I tend to be more practical on myself and spend on him for his birthday and Christmas. My stepdaughter, however, is very materialistic and always is asking for money or something expensive, and between her father and his family and her mother and her family and her stepfather, she always gets it. I had been repeatedly saying out loud that I needed a new purse since mine was hanging on by a thread and had decided to invest in a good designer handbag. I started saving money and looking online for my new dream purse. So imagine my surprise and excitement when we get to the department store and I see that they have my dream purse in stock. My husband sort of gave a look when he saw the price and I told him I could contribute and explained how I had been saving so I could save enough to get this purse that I had been dreaming about for months. He shook his head and said I deserved it and he would get it for me, but also gave me the expectation that since he was getting me this, he really couldn't afford to get me anything else. I screamed with delight and told him that was okay, I didn't need anything else. With that taken care of, my husband asked me if it was okay to go get his daughter and take her Christmas shopping. I had tons to do at home in preparation for the holiday, so this worked out so I could have the house empty to get what I needed done. I was reaching to get my new purse when we arrived home, and he said for me to leave it because he had another gift he had previously purchased for me that he was going to put inside the purse for me to open on Christmas. I was on cloud 9, so I kissed him and left my bag and went inside. I was still busy cleaning and decorating when he got home later that night, and the rest of the days before Christmas were all a blur with me trying to get my house ready for the holiday. I hosted Christmas Eve at my house with my family, and Christmas Day I slept in tired from the night before and woke up with enough time to brush my teeth before we headed out to go get his daughter, then drive to spend the day at his mother's house. I fell asleep on the drive and woke up after his daughter was picked up and we were already en route to his mom's. I turned around to greet his daughter and that's when I saw her rummaging and holding my new purse. "Where did you get that purse?" I asked her, and the car fell completely silent. I looked at my husband and he stayed silent with both hands on the wheel looking straight ahead. I asked her again, this time in a louder, more stern tone. She looked down and quietly mumbled, "My dad gave it to me." "You what?" I screamed. "How would you think it was okay to give her my new purse?" He told me to calm down and I cut him off and screamed no, and then turned back to his daughter and told her that her father had no right to give her my purse and that she needed to give it back, to which she refused. I could feel my anger raging then, subsiding to a feeling of sadness and complete defeat. I put my coat over my head and leaned against the window trying to cover my face and mouth as tears started running down my cheeks. My husband pulled over at the next gas station and his daughter bolted out, taking the purse with her. He tried to comfort me, to which I slapped his hand away and told him not to touch me and gave him a look of disgust. He informed me that after he dropped me off that day, he picked up his daughter, took her shopping, and on the way taking her home, she noticed the bag and saw the purse. She begged and pleaded with him to please let her have it. She reminded him about all the times he never got her a gift and how giving her this purse would make up for it, and that played on his heart, and he finally caved and gave her my purse. He tried to say he was going to make it up to me, and I asked him how, knowing it was impossible. He already spent his money and made it clear he wasn't going to have money to buy me anything else. I couldn't help but get upset as I tried to get him to understand how hurt I felt and how it's not like she was suffering with her getting to open gifts from her mother and stepfather, plus gifts from their family, along with the gifts she was going to get from his family, and that he already spent money on her for her Christmas presents, and that was my one gift. I know Christmas is not about getting presents, but I was extremely upset that my husband could be so thoughtless and not consider the amount of pain this was going to cause me. His phone rang and it was his daughter calling from inside, asking him to come inside because she needed money to buy something. As he was walking into the store, I looked back and tears began to fill my eyes as I saw all the gifts I picked out for his family with care. Something came over me and I stopped crying and got out and got in the driver's seat and wiped my face and peeled out of the gas station parking lot, leaving my husband and stepdaughter behind. I turned my phone off and drove back to town, spent the day with my family at my cousin's house, and stayed with them, not returning any of my husband's phone calls and not returning home until late following day. A teeny weeny part of me wants to say that's a dickhead move, but that is so overwhelmed by the fact that they fucking deserve this shit. Fuck that. They deserve it. Not the a-hole. I'm sold. Yes, Christmas is not about getting presents, but this isn't about Christmas. This is about your husband not prioritizing you, going back on his word, and treating you like shit. Not only him treating you like shit, but this stepdaughter disrespecting you and treating you like shit. The only phone call I did return was the one from my stepdaughter's mother to set her straight after she left me a hateful message about leaving her daughter stranded because I was jealous her father bought her a new purse. I told her she had been told a lie and informed her of the truth. That in fact, her father did not buy her a new purse. He bought me a new purse, and she played on her father's emotions after he had already bought her expensive items from her Christmas list to guilt him to giving her my purse. She apologized and tried to come up with a solution, to which I replied to her not to bother. The damage has been done. I found out through my sister-in-law that my husband's brother went to go get them, and the story came out later that evening. His mother is on his side, while his brother and sister-in-law and other aunts and uncles sided with me and got onto his daughter. I have not spoken to his daughter since Christmas, and things are unsettling at home. I have become more distant from my husband, and when I make dinner, I don't serve him a plate. I serve only my son and myself, and I only engage in conversation with my son. He tried to reach for me at night when we are in bed, and I always end up crying. I am not angry or mad. I just feel nothingness. He's back on the road, and I do miss him, but I can't shake the feeling of how he let me down, and I cannot hide my looks of disappointment. Looking to see what others have to say about the situation. Chat, I'm gonna need some divorce papers, because fuck this husband, bro. There are so many men out there who won't do this to you. Why the fuck would you stay with this absolute clown of a human being? Get rid of him. I don't care, bro. Let's be fucking nuclear, not the a-hole. Throw away the whole man. Him and his daughter, bro. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my parents because they plan on leaving almost everything to my disabled brother? My 24 female, brother 32 male is a failure to launch. He's never been very smart, he did badly in school, and never went to college. He tried 2 different trade schools, welding and mechanic, but he basically flunked out of both. He works at a gas station now. My brother and I are our parents' only children. They always treated us relatively equal until adulthood. They always insisted we earn our own way. They refused to pay for college or anything. I joined the military at 17, got an associate's degree while I was in, and my GI Bill went towards my bachelor's. I'm working towards my master's now. My husband and I have bought a house and have done well for ourselves. My parents, however, fully paid for my brother to try trade school twice. They've given him cash when he was behind on rent and countless loans. They support him cosplaying as an adult. Meanwhile, they never paid for my wedding, education, nothing. I don't really care so much that they didn't give me money, but the disparity in how they've treated me versus my brother. Our parents are in their 60s now, and while they aren't that old, they're both in bad health and probably won't live another 10 years. They just recently started working on their will and notified us that they were leaving almost everything to my brother. But they want me to be their medical power of attorney, manage their estate, etc. I told my parents to give my brother everything and that I'm completely done with them. They told me to have some grace and understand the fact that he isn't very capable and needs their support even after they're gone. My mother had a doctor's appointment this morning and asked me for a ride since she medically can't work. I told her to ask her favorite child or pay for an Uber. Things have been tense and hostile. My brother called me to apologize and asked me to not be mad at him, but I told him that I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at our parents for not treating us equally, and he didn't do anything wrong. I meant to put disabled in quotation marks. My mother refers to my brother as disabled, even though he isn't. She had him tested for every kind of learning disability there is. He just has a below average IQ. She thinks that counts as a disability when it isn't. Just because you have a below average IQ, that doesn't mean you're disabled, right? Yeah, I mean, this is how I feel, Frog. Like, you can be so dumb, but that doesn't mean you are disabled. I mean, we didn't get that much information about the brother, but like, it also maybe just sounds like he could be lazy. His parents didn't put enough discipline on him to just like sit down and focus on his shit. Fox in the Garden, is it weaponized incompetence? I don't think we have enough information to know whether or not it's a true disability or not. But I also think as much as it could be a true disability, it could also be weaponized incompetence. Even if he is disabled, I'm low-key still a little bit okay with her being a little mad at this. Regardless of what you believe, I think OP is not the a-hole. This is pretty unfair treatment of your kids. I get it. Maybe there's more support that you have to give this brother, but not so much that you completely neglect your other child. And I think this is getting pretty damn close to like neglecting your other child. I guess I'm just trying to figure out if OP's parents' treatment is valid. Because I think if this was a really low functioning autistic person, then I see it because it's like, okay, duh, that person needs more, you know, financial support, emotional support. I wouldn't say that they should neglect the daughter, but they have more of an excuse. But I'm just not seeing enough here to be able to identify that this brother has a disability to a level that the parents should be treating their children unfairly to this level. Yeah, it sounds like the mom just kind of decided to say he is disabled. I mean, that's the vibe I'm picking up, Chicken Sandwich. Yeah, I think I have to go with not the a-hole. I think the a-holes in this are just the parents. We do have an update to this one, chat. It's pretty long, so let's lock in here. The consensus of my post was a mixed bag. I sat down with my parents and I wanted to give an update and answer some stuff. My brother is not actually disabled. He just has a low IQ, just over 80. You need an IQ under 70 where I live to be considered disabled and to qualify for any sort of benefits. My parents have babied him because from a young age, he wasn't as smart as other kids and had a low self-esteem because of that, and was quick to give up on things when they seemed too hard. He does okay on his own now. He works and pays his bills most of the time. He drives and lives with a roommate. On to the update. I sat down with my parents and explained that I've always felt like they treated me worse than my brother. They always emphasized to me that as an adult, you need to support yourself and figure things out on your own. I had to join the military at 17 because I knew they'd kick me out when I was 18. My parents never offered me any support outside of raising me as a child. They didn't buy my husband and I a wedding gift. They didn't offer much of anything. Bro, the more we read about these parents, the more I'm like, they're kind of dog shit. I mean, you guys know my perspective about, you know, even though your kid is 18, you should usher them as they're becoming from what I call kinda an adult to like a real adult. Whether that's helping them pay for college or helping them find a job that helps them figure out their passion. Like, hot take, chat, people might fucking hate me for this. Parents who think their job stops at 18, dog shit. I'll say it. I was gonna say mid, but dog shit parents. This is just outrageous. Not even buying a wedding gift? Do y'all even fucking care about your daughter? Like, meanwhile, they brag about having over $1 million in the bank and having succeeded from nothing. I mean, over $1 million in the bank is fucking stupid. I'll say it, chat. I mean, unless you have 10x that in your retirement account, that's not a brag. That's you wasting money. Sorry, guys, not to finance bro out here, but like your money is losing value if it's just sitting in a bank account. We're not going to dig into that, but I know what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, they paid to put my brother through 2 trade schools that he failed out of, offered him money to start his own business. They've always bailed him out when he was short on rent. For me, it's not so much about the money, but about the disparity and how we've been treated. It's obvious they loved and cared about him more because they were willing to do those things for him and not for me. But despite them not being there for me, I've still done really well in life. I told my parents all about this and they were interrupting me and taking over me the whole time. They told me I'm not entitled to a dime when they die and that I'm an adult and I can handle myself. They just weren't understanding or even caring about my point. They told me I need to step up and treat them better, and that it's wrong of me to not take my sick mother to the doctor or take care of her because of money. I would be like, yo, y'all stop supporting me after I turned 18. I'm stopping supporting you after I turn 18. That is such a terrible mindset to have. Eventually, I just gave up on trying to talk about my feelings. They just don't care. I told them that they're adults and they're not entitled to anything from me. Just like how they were never required to help me, I'm not required to help them. I told them to completely remove me from their will. I'm not willing to be their estate executor, medical power of attorney, nothing. I don't want a dime from them at this point, and I suggested they spend all the money they've saved over the years to pay for really good nursing homes and an estate executor, because I'm no longer willing to do anything for them. Hell fucking yeah, baby. Fuck those parents, bro. My mother was floored and asked if I'd really put my own parents in a nursing home. I asked if they'd really let their 17-year-old daughter join the army to get sexually harassed by older men in order to go to school without taking on a huge debt. OP is fucking spitting right now. Good for OP. My parents cried and yelled at me and I left. And that's that, I guess. I kind of feel relieved, like a massive weight is off my shoulders. I have a wonderful husband. We own a nice home. I'm getting ready to start working on my master's degree, and we're thinking about maybe having a baby soon. I no longer have to worry about dealing with my parents. They're adults and they can deal with their own problems, just like I've done with mine. And yeah, that's it. Not sure if it's the update we wanted, but it is what it is. I mean, look, bro, it sounds like those rats weren't going to change their mind. If anything, happy ending. You got rid of the rats. The only thing I would encourage is that you keep a relationship with your brother. He sounds like he wasn't even the problem. And if anything, maybe his problems are because he has shitty parents. They've only helped enable it. To be a good sibling, you should open up the conversation of like, hey, are our parents enabling you maybe?